Hi, Mr. Casey's class. This is Ms. Vecto, and I am here to show you how to find resources for this amazing thematic essay on sectionalism. First off, kudos to Mr. Casey for this layout because let me tell you, I have talked to all of the freshman teams and you guys have got it made. This is beautifully organized. So what I'm going to do is take some of these suggestions and use them as search terms and show you online resources that you can use, library resources that you can use in the comfort of your own home. So where we start is right here with BHS Online. This is perhaps the hardest part, finding the library's website. It's under About Our Schools for no good reason. Library resources. Okay, you click on that and blammo, it brings you here. Now, generally, when I do freshman orientation in the library, I start talking about books and I show the catalog. But for right now, you're not going to need it. This is a fully online assignment. Next year, when you're in 10th grade and I start talking about how to find books, just signal to me to slow down so that it makes sense for you. Or you can come and ask me in the library. But for today, we're going to look at two different sections. We're going to look at the databases, which I'm going to open in another tab, and we're going to look at the Salem Press digital history books. So we're going to start here. This is a list of all the databases that you have access to by virtue of living in the state of Massachusetts. So there are a lot here for a lot of different purposes. Biography and context is nice if you're looking at an individual and their sort of place in history. There are a bunch of different things. We've got military and intelligent, opposing viewpoints, that's like controversial issues. Pop culture, probably not useful for you in this assignment, but really interesting. Access to the New York Times, science, religion and philosophy, war and terrorism. But for this project, U.S. history is where we're going to go. All right, so when you click on here, you can put in your search term. Now, since your broad topic is the Civil War, you can see that it's bold like that. That means that there's a collection on the Civil War, which is really nicely laid out. It gives you an overview. It gives you all the different types of resources, featured content, which is what the librarians at Gale think is important. Reference. Now, these are reference books. They're like books that have been edited, written by experts, but digitized for your convenience. There's biographies, primary sources, videos, images, audio. Then we've got magazines, newspapers, and academic journals. Oh, as well as case overviews. So magazines, newspapers, and academic journals are probably the big three in addition to the reference books. Newspapers show why your topic is still important. Magazines give you a general overview of the topic, and then academic journals are a deep dig into the topic. They're a little bit harder to read, but they have more detail to them, so it's easier to bump your ideas up against it. So let's say that you're looking at, we'll go to one of these reference books. Did slavery cause the Civil War? Well, all right. Yeah, that was easy. All right, so we're looking at this, and this is something that is of interest to you based on your topic. You read it, blah, blah, blah. You want to cite it? There's your citation right there. You just copy and paste it. It's in perfect order, okay? So I just want to look at a couple of different topics. So that's a collection, what we just looked at here. That's a bunch of things all neatly tied together. You can also use the search term to search for individual topics. If you're looking at Dred Scott, oh, I didn't know there was a Dred Scott collection. Well, I could have used that. That's handy. Now you'll notice there's a significantly lower number of items, but that's great. You've got, your 4 reference things. There's 3 here, but you see that it says 4. If you click on that, it gives you a little overview of what they are. But the same format for each one. All right, so Missouri Compromise. Let's look at that one. M-I-S-S-O-U-R-I. Okay, this is making a liar to me because I was looking for things that weren't collections. All right, Tariff of Abomination. That sounds awesome. Tariff of Abominations from 1827. Okay, it's just going to look slightly different, but you've still got 7 reference books and an academic journal. Triumph of the Antebellum Free Trade Movement. If you can get through that, I bet there's a lot of valuable stuff in there. All right, so that is how you use the databases. It's pretty straightforward. Next up, we're going to look at the Salem Press history books, which is right here. Oh, I'm already logged in. Well, phooey, you need a password for this. And the password is Beverly Panther. It's going to look like this. All one word, Beverly Panther. This is not where you put the password in, but since I'm already logged in, you know what? I'm just gonna, no, I can't log out. Um, that's the password you're gonna need, Beverly Panther. If you just type in Beverly, a different school is gonna come up here, and they have like 2 books as opposed to us. We have lots of books. All right. I was going to use the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Now, you can go searching. These are books that we have in the library. Manifest Destiny and the New Nation. That's something where things came up that would be like the Fugitive Slave Act, the Compromise of 1850, Dred Scott. So this would be a good one to look at if you're sort of trying to determine which aspect you want. You can also use the search bar. If we go back here and you put in Kansas, Nebraska, and you search here, you get the Kansas-Nebraska Act. And here's what's interesting. It's in a bunch of different books. So this one is from the context of political campaigns, candidates, and debates. This is from the book on slavery. This one is from the Civil War book. This one's from Dissent and Protest. This one's, well, we're now getting into a different aspect. So you're looking at it from different perspectives, which is really nice. The last thing I want to show you is the internet. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the internet, but when you use it, so let's say that we're going to look at Electoral College in the Civil War. Okay. So you go here and it's 14 million results, the first one of which is Wikipedia. That is always the case. I'm not actually sure if Mr. Casey has told you that you're only using the databases, which is not a bad idea, the databases and the ebooks. If you are able to use the internet, a good way to narrow your search is to go into settings and go to advanced search and put in GOV. All right, if you do that, it brings it down to 88,000 results, which is much easier to sort through, and all of them are government sources. The thing about the internet is that you have to determine who's the responsible party. Now, in that previous search that I did, these are pretty good searches. I'm a very fussy Google user, so most of the things that I click on are things like, PBS, American Heritage, The Atlantic, Time, Teen Vogue. These are all pretty reputable sources, but for the most part, what Google does is based on the things that you click on, that's what it gives you. It gives you what it thinks you like. So if you're clicking on a lot of, like, this is my school account that I'm working on. So when I'm at school, I'm generally clicking on educational stuff. And so Wikipedia now just says, well, she's not going to look at that garbage from such and such. We'll give her what she wants. Google's doing that to you too. So based on what your searches are, generally, that's what you're going to get back. So this isn't a bad search. However, when we go to the GOV, so it's, again, that's settings, advanced search, GOV, that gives you government sites. That means that whoever wrote this works for the US government, so you don't have to have their actual name. You can quote the American Archives. You can quote the National Park Service. You can quote the state of Delaware, the state of Virginia, the state of Wisconsin. So all of these things, you don't have to have the person who is the responsible party, which is what makes it different. Like Wikipedia, if we go to Electoral College on Wikipedia, we're going to find a lot of great stuff, but we are not going to find the name of the person who wrote it because we don't know, because you can't cite humanity. So that's why narrowing your focus to GOV, especially for American history searches, is quite helpful. The way that I look at it is when I was a kid, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, and I was doing research, it was searching for a specific thing. I was searching for this article on the Tariff of Abominations. And when I went to the library and I talked to the librarian and she got it from the magazine section in the back, I shouted, huzzah, because my work was done. All I had to do was write down the information. Now you guys have the internet, which means that all of the knowledge of the world is at your beck and call, but you have to sort through it. And sorting through it is hard. So it's a tsunami of information coming at you, and one of the ways to stem that a little bit is by only looking for resources that you know that you can count on to be accurate. So the databases and history books that are published and government sites are the way to go for this. All right. Check in with Mr. Casey for his amazing thematic essay layout here and what kind of resources he wants you to use. And if you have any questions, you can email me, bfecto@beverlyschools.org, and I'm happy to help. All right. Thanks for watching.